Hey everyone, Chris Johnson with Money Morning. ACHR Aviation, we talked about it at the beginning of July, holding $10 and $11. Ooh, that didn't work. But then I came back in September and said things have changed and $8 is the price where I back up the truck. That one's held, even though some of you think I was absolutely wrong. Stop looking at your watch when I'm looking at my calendar here. This is a long-term trade, and we're going to walk through an update of it today, as well as the price that I'd still be buying it at. Hint, it's still $8, and my target price for where it's going and what I expect out of the fourth quarter. All of that in about 5 or 10 minutes. It's going to be worth your time. You're going to learn something new. Stick with me. Let's jump into it. All right, let's jump into it very quickly. I'm going to spend 5 or 10 minutes, and we're just going to update you on what's going on with ACHR Aviation and how I'm still positioning myself for a big run. And a lot of people are going to go, I don't know, CJ, July, September, you told us that the stock was going to find support. Leave a comment down below on what you think about where I think ACHR is going. Joby, you can throw it down there too, and we'll pick Joby up here in a little bit of time. But let's look at what I said, and this is back in July, the beginning of July. The stock was trading around that $11 point, right above its 50-day moving average. Keep that in mind before we hit the chart here in a second. But what you were seeing is a little bit of playback, a pullback, a nice big 30% plus pullback in the stock. A healthy correction's 20%, and this is the reason that I looked at $11 and $10 as the buy the dip price, and I'm still standing by it because I did buy more of the shares at $10, but things have changed. And that's one thing I want to point out to everybody. If you're coming to this page and this YouTube channel to look for what to buy to make 20% in the next 2 days or 3 days on a name like ACHR, I hate to tell you, but keep scrolling, keep looking for something else. Right here, this community that we've got is looking for how to make money on ACHR, Joby, any of the quantum names, the AI nuclear names over the next 6 months or 12 months. So let's not talk about, this didn't age well when a stock pulls back over a month or so. It's an opportunity, and you learn from that. And let's pick up on exactly where I was. $10 is where I started adding to the position in July. Options activity was a big player in that decision. And when you look at what happened, I updated you just about a month ago and said, hey, this has turned over on us because headlines are not favoring us right now. Speculators are out of the market. Everything slows down in terms of volume and speculation. And this is a highly speculative / early development company. So for that reason, we broke through that 50-day moving average that I was watching very closely right here in July, and even the 200-day moving average. And at that point, we looked at the open interest and said $8 and $7 is where you draw the line, and you back the truck up at $8. I'd buy it at $7, but at $8, it starts to get a little stronger, and that's because there was so much put open interest. Things have not changed, and that call was actually right, but still, I'm feeling a little bit wrong, and we'll look at the chart right now. Was I wrong? No. Investors and traders in these names, they need to be able to pivot, or more importantly, watch what happens over the next week, 2 weeks, maybe even a month or two in this case, when we know that the markets are seasonally weak. This is an early development company. You want to be aware of that because the speculation will go away if headlines go away. Quantum computing names have gotten their headlines over the last couple weeks, and they're up 20, 30, 40, 50% in some cases. If you look at them, the same is going to happen with ACHR and Joby Aviation. We love those headlines, even if they go against us sometimes, because they give us those opportunities. But we should see in October and November these headlines start to pick up again. Remember, licensing and all of that stuff that's going to happen in 2026 is going to start getting out in the news. But that brings us to where you look at right now in terms of the stock. And I want to go to the chart for that right now. Here's your chart of ACHR Aviation as we look at it today. And we're in a little bit of a squeeze play here. That 50-day moving average, what I think is one of the most key trend lines to watch out there, the one that says the trend is your friend, it is now unfriendly. It's bearish. So I'm looking at from the perspective of, is this run over or is this just an opportunity? The squeeze play tells me something's going to happen here over the next week, 2, 3 weeks or so, and it could end us up at that $8 price target. Now, the options market is still excited about that $8, even $7 on ACHR Aviation from the put side of the market. And we'll see that chart here in just a second. Let's go to it. All right, so let's look at that options activity and what is happening. Right now, you've got the open interest configuration for the October expiration on Archer Aviation. Notice that $10 mark right there. Tons of call open interest there, and you've got a lot of put open interest. So the options market is starting to adjust. Now, this sets us up for something that we call pinning the options. What I mean by that is usually as you approach expiration, when you have a large amount of put and call open interest at a certain strike, one strike, you usually see it act as a magnet. It pulls. It's got a gravitational pull, and it's because the people who sold those options are usually hedging them on both sides of the market right now, around $10 for Archer. And we're not there, obviously, right now. But if we see a break up above that 50-day, you're going to see the stock get clouded by this open interest. It's not going to go above $10 before the third Friday in October. So watch for Archer to actually continue to consolidate, maybe even dip a little bit lower. And when we look down at that $8 price mark, that's where the puts now start to outweigh the calls. And that's why I put that as my list on, hey, if it dips back down to that $8, that's exactly where I'm going to start adding to positions. In my case, I tend to offer or look at the long-term, the long-dated leaps on companies like this. And the 2028 leaps are coming to the market near you right now because we're 6 months away from the beginning of the year. Option cycles work that way, so you'll be able to buy even longer dated options. But my focus has been on the 2027 options, and I usually look at that $10 strike, that at the money, if you will, right around $10. Why? We'll look at that in just a second. Looking above, if for some reason we did see a jump, $13 is going to be a line in the sand that Archer is just not able to get over ahead of that third Friday in October. Let's look at November, because November starts to give us an idea of where you could see the stock go as we hit into that seasonally strong period. And it's a little bit of the same. You can see that $7 peak right there on the put side. That is a hard line in the sand that Archer should not cross right now. There'll be so much support for the stock at $7 if we hit it. We'd have to break below that $8. And again, you can see that $10 mark sitting right there. We talked about that in the video in early September. When you have all of this option activity that's congested around one price or even higher, it's going to muddy the water. So right now, Archer Aviation, unlike Joby, looks like it's going to have a little more overhead pressure on the stock as we get back up above $10. The bonus here is that when we start to see that activity and we start to see the price go above, all of a sudden you have people covering those positions, and it turns into not a short covering rally, because that doesn't happen, but it's something similar where the mechanics of the options market force people to start turning into buyers, and that helps to drive the price higher. What is my outlook? And this was from September 9th. I told you, having lost the hedge position at $9.50, the stock is going to seek support at $8. It did. Archer shares face a glass ceiling at $13 based on the options expiration data. It still does. Long-term bull case remains intact with a price target of $20. So how do we get there and what happens after that? There is that chart right now. Here is the squeeze play that you're seeing with Archer, with the 50-day moving average coming down and that 200-day, and you're starting to consolidate. My guess right now is that we're going to see a little bit of weakness, especially with people getting nervous about a government shutdown, and the stock is going to dip back down to that $8. And as I said, I will return as a buyer of those long-dated options or the stock at that point, just to add to the position, because from the longer term, that $20 price target, and you're starting to see Wall Street get involved with that, becomes more of a reality, especially as we head into 2026. And as I said, those licensing tasks that are going to get checked off on Archer Aviation's to-do list. You're also going to see something similar with Joby. And remember, when one of them comes out with news, it usually helps both. They move in tandem because obviously this business is a very small industry, very few names to be trading, and investors get revived and rejuvenated about even seeing headlines about Joby Aviation. These two companies aren't going to knock each other out. They're going to continue to grow and do their own things. Archer obviously has a little bit more of an angle on the Department of Defense and some of those contracts that we may see in 2026, which is one of the reasons I think it is just as exciting as Joby, which is going after more of the commercial market over on the East Coast. Either way, I still remain long on both stocks and look for some outstanding returns as we head into 2026 and expect this fourth quarter to bring good news for investors. Make sure you leave a comment down below and sign up for that Speculative 7 report. We've got eVTOL names in that. We've got the AI nuclear names in that, and a couple of other, including a quantum computer name that you want to see. All you have to do is hit the link below or the QR code right above, and we'll get that to you for free in your email box. And check us out at moneymorning.com. Lots of good content there. We're covering all of these stocks and more, as well as more videos right here on the channel. Chris Johnson, wishing you the best trading success. Have a great day.